Welcome back, guys, to another episode. This one's going to start off a little bit differently because I kind of lost the intro footage. But in this episode, we actually have two mods to cover today. The first one is the Autocollect Storm tow hook. The tow hook mounts onto the strut tower, and then the hook itself, or the ring, or the part where you actually attach, the tow rope to, sticks out of the hood. So two things need to happen. One, we got to re-drill the holes for the top hats, because the S13 top hats are positioned slightly, I'd say like 45 degrees off than what they should be. What's nice is in the Cressidas, there's dimples to where these holes need to be. And so we just literally just need to drill those holes out and remount the top hats so that way they're positioned correctly, and that way the tow hook, when we mount it, actually is, perpendicular to the hood, not like crooked to the hood. So we're going to go ahead and cover that. And then after that, the second mod is Justin had bought Villain's S13 LCA extensions. I believe they were 40 or 45 millimeters wider. Villains makes them where they're pre-bent, and that way when you chop your OEM arms, you can kind of just weld this piece into place, and then you're good to go. So we actually do have the dialogue for that, so I'll let Justin talk about that more. But for now, we're going to go ahead and do the tow hook, so enjoy the time lapse.
Alright, so we got the old tie rod out. Pretty simple once you have the tool. Only took 3 days to get. But compared to the new one, it's I don't know, it's at least an inch. So this one we were actually running almost like fully maxed out, so I didn't need to go like the 40 mil longer in this one, but I still think it's pretty close. But there's enough threads on here if I gotta cut it because it is too long, then we'll cut it. But yeah, so I'm just gonna put a little thread lock on the threads and then run it back in.
And then part numbers in the description.
Yes,
yeah.
Actually I have a whole list of different lengths depending on your dangle. Alright, so overview why I needed these longer tie rods, inner tie rods, is so Villain's 40 millimeter extension. It's for the S13s, S14s, since we have S13 lowers. So yeah, 40 mil, probably a little too much, but whatever, we'll try it. See how much camber we get. Painted depression gray, so it should work great. I don't know what car these longer tie rods are, but they're about an inch longer than what we had, which makes them like, I think, almost 2.5 inches longer than stock. So we'll see. Stock X8 outer, and think that's it.
RCAs.
Oh, XM RCAs. If you saw in one of our last videos, Nissan 4-pots, Powertrix S13 coilovers, braided lines now, and
and then the rack itself is also
X7 rack, yeah, with XM bushings. But yeah, pretty simple. I technically don't have any angle mods, just really long arms, and X7 steering rack, and it's enough to over center and more angle than I know what to do with. So yeah, that's the front end setup. Pretty simple. So, best stance. As I said, as I dropped the car off the jack. Oh shit!
Whoa! Whoa!
With all this camber, it should be lower, and it's a lot lower. It looks dope. Kind of wish I could leave it, but it doesn't. So, I am drooping in the front, so I think I'm just gonna take the droop out and see where it's at. Oh, we're done. I raised that right side a little more to even it out, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty stoked. It's a little more poke than I wanted, but I think it's gonna work. We're gonna find out in a second, but first let's see how much camber. So, how much camber I have now. And I was kind of shooting for the 7 to 8 mark, just because that's what I wanted to shoot for. So, let's see. What happened to 8, bro?
I got 8. 7.7.
7.6, 7.7. That's I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing I want to do is we need to see if it hits anything now that it's pushed out more, and then also the whole point of running so much camber is that at full lock or getting to full lock, we get it off the outside edge and we're using more of the tire. So we're gonna turn it to full lock and see what it looks like.
Explain the science.
Explain the science. It's mostly how much caster we have, but the tire rolls over. So you can see how it, at full lock, it runs on this. In all the pictures, you can see I have a ton of positive camber. And like I said, on the 17s, it's actually chunking the outside block. So if you look at it now, this is pretty close to full lock with the car off. But it's pretty straight. So I'll have more of the tire on the ground, which means more grip.
Contact patch for you.
Yeah. Yep. So maybe if I get skills one day, I can throw backwards entries. I don't know. But yeah, so this worked. So going from 4.5 degrees of camber to 7, almost 8, really works. So I think for me, since I don't daily it, it's cool. I'm probably gonna get a little inside wear, and also they say turn-in's a little dull, but having this much tire on the ground at full lock, especially the first corner at range, is what I'd rather have. And like I said, I don't drive it every day, so I don't really care for some of the bad sides that come to this. Yeah, if you want a better scientific explanation, there's an Offbeat Garage video, shout out to him, but he runs 10 degrees of camber in the front and his is pretty flat. So if that's not enough for you, watch his and then you can be smart like me. And so that's it for today. We're just gonna run a quick adjust the toe with the toe plates, and then we'll catch you next time.